please go inside? You can eat from inside. Thatha lelo plate uhambe nalo ungene. Sure. We are starting. Please go inside. You can take your plate, please. Hi. We are starting. Or you know what? I think you can skip to and do the thing and then we'll take it. I don't know. I think I'm going to do the closing remarks.
Okay.
That's good.
Good morning. Am I audible? Good morning and welcome. I'm going to just allow everybody who's outside to make their way inside. Hello and welcome to everybody joining us online. My name is Karabo Bongo and I will be your facilitator for today. I'm really excited and I think let's just give it 1 minute. I'm going to just go grab everybody because we want to fill up the seats and then we'll get started. To all our people online, remember that hashtag Gauteng Hybrid Conference and please do share questions, comments, and we'll be reading them definitely. So I'm not the only facilitator. I will be joined by Hector Matabe. And so in our official open and welcome, Hector will be here with me as well. So in 2 seconds, we'll be officially starting. Once again, hello and welcome. I think it's only fair that we start off with a huge round of applause to everybody who's made it here and made it online. So in 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Like I mentioned earlier, my name is Karabo Bongo and I'm a radio host on Josie FM. If you were up this morning at 2 a.m. till 5 a.m., you would have heard me.
And my name is Hector. Matabe. And I know a few people are surprised by that. Lausa Aniki Maswanganyi. She's an amazing bass guitarist. Arhau. Uchenchile say name. You know, Greg, it's I know Luena, you might be saying, go feeling, oh, no. Shift happens. I hope you heard me correctly. Shift happens. So change happened in my life a couple of years ago. I changed my surname. But I suspect I'm in the company of people who are not surprised by that, because musicians like changing their names all the time. I mean, the gentleman next to me told me his real name. He says, but go music in Pizza, so and so. So I think you can live with my changed surname. So welcome to the conference, guys. We're really happy to see you here this morning in the midst of greatness.
Yes, absolutely. I think, just before we start, if I may ask everybody to please stand up as we have a moment of silence in remembrance of Gorapetsi.
Oh my God.
And it is indeed a sad time for, the team this morning, considering that she would have been with us. So as we have this moment of silence in your hearts, you may just say a short prayer as we remember the beautiful soul that she was, as we remember her passion, her dedication, and her hard work in putting together this conference. All the speakers who are here have engaged with Gorapetsi, and unfortunately, God's timing is His timing, and we can always plan, but God decides. With that said, let us bow our heads as we remember Miss Gill. Thank you.
And may her soul rest in peace. A very passionate young lady, great marketer she is. We are all here. I suspect, like you're saying, Karabo, that she interacted with most of us. It was quite a shocker when we discovered what we discovered. May her family be comforted in this period.
Absolutely. Without wasting any time, we're going to move straight into the opening and welcome. If you may give him a warm round of applause for the official opening and welcome, the CEO of W9 Images, Sfiso.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sfiso Nechandama. I'm the brainchild behind the conference that we are in today. I work for a company called W9, and I'm co-directing another events company called TJK Concept. I'm not gonna take long. Yeah, I'm in a bit of an emotional state. As you've noticed, I've lost one of my co-workers who was doing a lot. If it wasn't for her, most of you wouldn't have heard about this on radio and all of this. It was her work. She was an amazing soul. I don't know what I can say, but eventually I'll find the words to talk about her. So I'm gonna give you a brief background on the conference itself. I think about 15 years ago, 16 years ago, I was involved in the music industry. I used to work we started a record label back then called Deep Forest SA. I was doing their A&R. So I became familiar with the music industry during that era. I got to work with Sony, some distributors, we got to work. So, and I'm one person where I always like to learn. I learn every day, and I'm 100% sure that today I'm going to learn from you as well, because of things change, and we can never see all the changes that are happening at the same time. This one is going to see this. So that's what brought about this conference, because in my years, I've moved from the music industry, although I didn't move completely. I'm in the technological industry for IR space, because I love technology. So ever since at a young age, I've been in the technology space. This is why the conference we are having it as a hybrid, so that other people can participate online as well. So the conference came from questions like, we have one question, people will say, so when I used to be in the music industry, can I problem? So if that question comes more frequently, you need to also come with an intervention to answer those questions. So that's how the conference came about. Initially, it was the North Hybrid Conference, which I did for the northern side of Gauteng, which is your Tshwane side. It started there. And then we got the support from the department, and the department ended up saying, you know what, this is a good initiative. Try to pull it all over Gauteng, like pull people from all the corridors of Gauteng. And then this is how the Gauteng Hybrid Music Conference came about. As you can, if you've noticed, we've sent you the program or so that you can see the program, because initially the program, it covers all aspects of music, because of right now we always think that music is what we create and let people listen to, but what happens in between. So in short, I hope you're gonna learn, and I hope all my speakers they're gonna learn from you guys as well, because of you are on the ground. You are the ones that are always on the ground. They might be maybe in the background, but they might also get to see the challenges that you face every day. Then you get to engage. So without taking much more of your time, we have a very interesting keynote speaker. I've been pestering him for a while, and funny enough, Nali we always meet at events and we talk, but he doesn't know that it was me. But at least he can know this time around, and he's gonna be doing our keynote today. If you give me permission, can I introduce our project? Introduce. Who wants to? It's my honor to introduce Mr. Greg Maloka, who's going to be doing our keynote.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here. Sfiso, you owe Da Vinci a shot, because on our Wednesday sessions, Vinny Da Vinci says to me, you know, there's a conference and the guys want you to do opening remarks or keynote. And I said to Vinny, hey, my man, Sfiso. Yeah, you know Sfiso. So yeah, he's right. First week I ignored it. Second week, Vinny says to me, "My man, you will go and do this conference." That was the end of the story. So I was raised to respect my elders. You know, we may be different in height, but I know my place. I think what would be impactful, you know, when I was asked to come and speak here today, there's 50 million things I can talk to you about. In which case we'll all be here all day, and that wouldn't be a productive conference. And I thought to myself, instead of preparing a whole PowerPoint presentation or a whole talk, I think it's very presumptuous, especially in an event like this, to come with prepared speech when you don't know who you're going to meet and what they would want to know from you. And I guess there's a reason I was asked to come and do this opening, or rather this keynote address. But I think it's also important for me to know what you would like to hear and what you would like to know. Because otherwise I can stand here and speak about myself and leave, and that does nothing for you. So we are going to have a 15-minute conversation. If you don't mind, I will ask if someone has a mic. If you have a question, I think that's a good place to start, because then we can engage, as opposed to listening to a whole story about stuff that may or may not do anything for you. Okay. Inspiration is nice, but if you can't convert it into something, that's really pointless. And if you are in the music industry or in the arts and you have no questions, then I should not have been here.
Hello, good morning.
Tawel.
Like,
Hello, wala liya, wakhala.
like, good day.
Sharp.
Okay, I only have one question. I'd like to know that, let's say you're working with artists, producers, but they're not registered with the organization like SAMRO, RISA, and all those other organizations. How do you go about securing their percentages of rights. Whenever I go on the portal and trying to type their names, they are not there. As to me also registering myself, but when I have to register them, it becomes a problem. How do I go about that kind of situation now? How do I move forward?
Okay, you are in luck because this conference is actually here to answer those questions. I think when I looked through the program, there's someone who's specifically an expert on that particular space. Suffice to say, it shouldn't be rocket science. You know, if you want to say, you might, you know, it's important to, when you know where to register and how to register, you must just do it. Okay, because that's how that you become part of that ecosystem. Right? If you don't, it's pointless. Really, that's what it is. You must tell people, if your music is not registered, if you as a person are not registered, but low cap. Long story short. But there's someone who will give you a much more concise answer. Yeah, sure. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Hi, Greg.
How's it, man?
Good, thank you.
Sure.
Big inspiration, number one. And I've got I think it's pretty lengthy question. But as somebody with your experience, you know, being in the industry for as long as you have been, you know, and having navigated from music in terms of DJing, broadcasting, and music business, you know, what are the things along the way that you have picked up that are like key? And with the changes that you've experienced from when you started and developed and now where you are, what would you say just about the landscape and where you see everything going holistically in terms of like music business, and just a little bit of advice on how to navigate as somebody within the industry as a, let's say, an artist, and then moving into other elements of the business, you know, like the music business?
Great question, thank you. So I've been playing in that space 30 odd years now. In fact, a bit more, because a lot of us who are in the arts and the creative space, you know, this game starts when you are 7, you know, and you only recognize it as something very important as you know, when you get to your teens, and then there's this whole struggle of converting it into a livelihood, right? So that's the process. And we're in an environment, sadly, where the arts are still not given the level of respect that it requires, as in it's not a viable, or as yet a viable industry, where, you know, you've, like in New York, you've got a Julia, and you know, when you go to that school, your prospects of, you know, kind of making it in the industry are slightly higher. Or where there's, you know, abundance of theater or abundance of audiences and so forth. So there's a whole system to reckon with, right? So for me, there's been key learnings just growing. One, networking is one of your greatest, you know, advantages, right? You can't achieve anything by yourself, right? I often say at conferences like these, if you guys leave without having exchanged numbers, found out about each other, what do you do, what do I do? It's amazing what you find when you just ask this person sitting next to you, you know, what they do and what they came here for, right? You will discover some incredible things. So that's the first thing. The second thing is really about thinking different. One of my favorite examples is Cassper Nyovest. When Cassper was a background vocalist for Jabba, he had ambitions of, you know, creating his own brand as Cassper. And Jabba was in full support of that. They had a system. You know, that Mufftown piece was like was a movement, right? So again, network, environment, how we won. You've got people. And they would support each other. But the thing he did, which was effective, was he would release music and radio stations wouldn't pick up his music. And what he started to do was circulate music in his neighborhood. So he created his own audience. And as soon as people started to hear, hey, there's this, you know, movement that's happening in a particular, all of a sudden radio stations are jumping onto it. And sadly, what has changed, you asked about change. What has changed, when we were running YFM back in the day, we understood the importance of being at the center of the culture and driving the culture. Now that comes with a cost, right? Because sometimes you're seen as a unicorn And to kind of explain yourself to an advertising industry becomes very difficult. So to try and balance, making money for the radio station and being true to the culture was a difficult balance, but it was a balance we were willing to drive nonetheless. So, through radio stations, we were able to create audiences for the culture to thrive. In this particular instance, what Casper realized was that had changed, but he needed to create an audience for himself, which a radio station could not ignore. So, big lesson there as well is that be able to create an audience for your craft. If you're going to be in a creative environment and you do stuff that only you know, that only you like, accept that you will not have an audience. People don't consume things they don't want or don't understand. The whole thing about being creative is being able to reach into people's minds and hearts and find the things that they find difficult to express. If you think about music, everyone in here has listened to music. You've heard the words, I love you, in 50 billion songs, but you don't get tired of it. Because every great artist finds a way to express exactly the same line in a different way within the context of their record. So, network. Find people that are in your space that can enhance what you do. Don't be afraid to create an audience out of your own community. Technology is your friend, right? Use technology to your advantage. Just keep creating, and eventually people pick up on it. Carol. Morning.
Okay, good morning.
Eta.
My name is Lokwahel. I'm from the Free State. Okay, I have released several.
Did you come from the Free State specifically for this conference?
No, I'm from the Free State.
Oh.
But I work here.
But you work here?
Yes.
Just checking. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a small little funny joke. I don't know if you find it funny, but many years ago we had, on YFM, we had Fat Joe, who was a breakfast presenter. And then we sent him to the Grammys, and in a year where Mace, do you know the artist called Mace? Mace, yeah. Salim Ruti these days. And a podcaster. Anyway, Mace was a rapper in those days. He was under Puff Daddy. He was a very famous guy. And so Fat Joe runs up to him to interview him for his Grammy. He's like, yo, Mace, hey, how you doing, man? You just won a Grammy. How do you feel? But he said, my name is Fat Joe from South Africa. And Mace was like, wait a minute, man. You from Africa? He says, yeah. I says, how did you get here? So I wanted to ask, how did you get here from the Free State? Please ask your question.
Oh, okay. My profession, I'm a teacher. Ne?
Okay.
Yes. So, okay. I grew up with a passion of music, and I grew up in a family whom loved music so much. Then, obviously, not obviously, actually. Okay. By the way, in a long run, music caught up with me. So anyway, I'm juggling within two passions right now. Okay. Okay, my statement is that I have several tracks that I've released. So, by the way, I went to Samro to register. Then the only thing that I'm struggling with is registering for distributions. So that is my worst struggle at this moment. So I don't know.
Short answer to your question, you are at the right conference. By the end of the day, you will know.
Okay.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
Sanbonani.
Sawana.
I have quite a few questions, but I'll just start with this one. You know, looking in this room, I see youngsters. and as njengom Africa oyithandayo iAfrica, inhliziyo yami is sinking. I want to start with you, sir. Uguti, we hear Uguti next week, somewhere next week, the bill that we've been fighting, Uguti ingasainwa, which contains the term fair use, which by now we know Uguti it's a legal way of Americans to further exploit Africans, taking their our intellectual property without compensating us. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi, as organizations or as people who've been in this industry for a long time, what is your contribution in trying to stop this? Because I don't see enough noise. We tried, as you see, Gauteng, to do picket, trying to stop this. But we hear Uguti, the DTIC is now they are moving for adoption of this, and from there the president is going to sign this bill. And we already know that we are being exploited. There's no protection for us, and I mean in the international arena. So now, should they sign this bill, kushuthi future yalaba labantwana bahleli la, and ninga worry uma nginibiza ngabantwana, you all look almost like my daughter's age. She's 30 years old, so I have a right to say ngabantwana.
Siyabonga ma.
Yeah, so no, angsabi. I'm not afraid. I'm here where I am ngoba uNkulunkulu ufuna ukuthi ngibe la, and ngiyantanda ma Africans. I love all of us here, but ngisho ukuthi, why are we letting America do what they are doing to us? This is bullying, and now they are going to be given a right by our government to now further destroy us. What is your take, sir?
Okay, so my take is simple. My take is that you're absolutely right. The world is full of bullies. The entertainment industry is a dog-eat-dog world. It's an environment where money and politics intersect. It's a space where, kind-hearted and honest people are rare to find. And so there will always be someone looking for a legal loophole. There's always going to be somebody who's, trying to push a certain narrative, and somebody who's trying to, drive a particular mindset. The thing that I think perhaps we need to think about is, what do we have to offer to Africa and to the world? You see, when you have nothing, and I say this in quotes, when you have nothing, when you are not organized, and when you can't put pressure in your own system, there's very little you can do at a global level. It's really as simple as that. And so we have to rethink how we move and think as Africans. Half the time, we have a singular mindset of, protest or any kind of form of wanting to stop particular actions. But sikezahlala nje phansi said, okay, so chess move, basishayele la, fine, sibashaya kuphi? We never ask ourselves those questions. We never think about moves that will shift the game. We can never win a game we have not designed. So when I speak about ecosystems and I speak about networks, these are things that you need to create, that need to be unique to you, that someone would have to come to you to access. So right we create and create and create, which is fantastic. What we need to learn is, how do you protect your creation? And conferences like these will speak to that. Yes, sir. Where's the mic?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
So,
Humble greetings to everyone.
Joe.
And greetings to you as well, Mr. Greg Maluka. It's actually an honor to be standing next to you. I think I must also commend the work that you did while you were still in YFM, because YFM became a platform for us as people of Akule Lokshini to be proud of our background and to fully express ourselves. So my question is actually, I'm much more interested about the international market access.
Yeah.
How can we package our product in making sure that we are in the value chain internationally? I'll take Amapiano as an example, looking at what has done internationally. I think 2 years ago, I was in UK, I did a research about the disco genre, and I realized the influence that it has internationally. Yeah. And now I'm actually in the film and TV sector, and I'm doing research in the music industry as a whole. So my question is more of packaging our product for international market. Thank you.
Sure. There's, I think, hundreds of ways, but again, it starts with the attitude, right? So we did a little bit of a packaging exercise of house music in 1998, and what we did was we realized how massively consumed house music was in South Africa. And we also recognized how it influenced Kwaito, right, to a large degree. But also how we were making some really good house music. But not only that, why house music was such an important part of our fabric as a society around that particular time. And we discovered the Miami Winter Music Conference. And what we did was we decided, no, we'll go for a little reconnaissance mission just to go and see what happens there, what goes on, what do people do. Now, the Miami Winter Music Conference was a marketplace for house music, right? So, you had parties going on, you had labels releasing music, you had people meeting for a conference. It was a marketplace. It was something like this, obviously, for a lot of musicians from around the world, by the way. So, guys from France used to come into the US. Obviously, we brought in and positioned South Africa. One of the things that we did was we were very confident in positioning our country as the best producer of house music. We didn't flinch. Second thing is we knew we had the market that the house music world needed. Okay. Thirdly was the advantage was that we are a young country, so consumers of house music globally were getting old, literally by age, and so we pounced onto this market. Right, we went into an organized marketplace. And we presented South Africa as, a force to reckon with where house music is concerned. And out of that, the Shimzas of this world were produced. Tamba, Euphonic, right? Black Coffee was coming along with us on those rides. We had a local version of that conference, which sought to bring that mindset back here. So not only did we go there and learn stuff there, we created a conference here so we can spread the word, because it wasn't enough that only 12 people go to this thing or 18 people go to this thing overseas and you don't come back and share the knowledge. And that's how we won that game, right? And the hope was then the next generation will do the same thing. The hope is guys who are in, Amapiano will realize the global stature of the game and somehow unite and, because we can't be present in every generation. Our job is to pass the baton and hope the next generation does what it needs to do. So essentially, again, it's back to working together, right? And, like I said earlier, sometimes somebody makes it and they don't want to hang around guys who are still struggling, because they want to keep moving, right? And if you're still struggling, watch yourself as well, because your attitude is that of pulling people back, you know? So it's really about reaching into our humanity, right? Are you genuinely happy when you see someone do well? It's amazing what that does for you, right? And what that energy will be for you. If you are genuinely happy for someone, you must know that your day comes quicker. If you find it difficult to be happy for somebody in the same space as you have a little bit of a challenge. In the end, it comes down to what we are. We're humans. And I think we ignore our power as humans, and we focus on our technical capabilities, you know, and technology and knowledge about other things, and we forget that we're human first. And most importantly, we're Africans. There's something really powerful about that, you know? Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're going to wrap it up. We've got like 2 more questions. Okay, so we're going to just close it with the gent at the back.
Sanbonani.
Yes,
Hello.
My name is Umula.
Mula.
Yes,
As
Umula.
in Nyogo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. My name is Umula. I'm
How's
a musician.
Gaila?
I'm with my other musician friends. Yabo. We make music, all genres. So a challenge is yabo.
Yeah.
Like myself, we have no funding, no finance whatsoever, but we have friends that have social media, phones, good phones, we shoot, we do all these things, yabo.
Sure.
But then it comes and also make efforts to also push the music, which is very difficult, it's hard,
Yeah.
you know. Making a song is easy, maramanje we push,
Yeah.
that's the difficult part, you know, because the life in there's 2 people. Kunomuntu ophiwe with the art side, yabo, kunomuntu ongaphiwanga futhi ne-business, and there's people that have both, which are very lucky, yabo. So my challenge is, how do I fix, or we've worked with big names also, yabo, that have featured us on their songs, but now normally when I check some it, mele vele lapha uthi registration submitted by who and who. So obviously now from where I'm standing, okay, the music hasn't really made money or much money as yet, yabo. So me thinking I was like, okay, do I wait for the music to make money, then I go and attack and claim what's mine, or should I just try to fix that now? And if I do so, because music lawyers are also very expensive, you know. I haven't heard of an affordable music lawyer that I can speak to with regards to fixing the whole thing without also causing problems. Yabo? Because also in a relationship, I want to keep and maintain the relationship.
So
Yabo?
let me start with this.
Yeah.
If relationships are real, you won't have challenges. But to make relationships real, even with your friends, you've got to write it down, Baba. Right? It's got to be agreed. There must be no dispute at the end of the day. And when I'm we're doing music, everything's great, we're doing amazing records, blah, blah, blah. And then when the money starts rolling in, that's where our real selves start to come out. Right? So, to guard against that, right, you've got to make sure that your music's registered. Whether you collect your money tomorrow, next year, or in 10 years' time, if you are registered and there's a paper trail, you part of that music, you are covered. You don't need to fight with anybody, right? Because, again, with the right authorities, you're registered. Second thing is you've also got to agree in terms of other revenues outside of, airplay. So whether it's events or this or that, again, write it down, right? Nzwane. Doesn't have to be fancy English, right? Doesn't have to be a big legal document. It can be one line that says, this is how we agree, and that's that governs that relationship. Because once the money start rolling in, trust me, mara kanjani wena 60%. It was okay when we were doing it. You know what I mean? Okay.
And also, just so to take too much time, we also have we started our own distribution platform.
Yeah.
Yabo? Because there was also this challenge. It's Audio Shadow. My recent single, Ipumenge 14, we dropped it through Audio Shadow. Ne? So it's expensive also to run it because my friends are running it from their pockets.
Sure.
And there's not much coming in. So we also need funding. So if maybe, because some Amayama sites are advertised online now, but I saw that Samro is keeping funding. They're closing in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We've applied for that. So if there's also other companies we can look at so that we can get funding to push and promote the music and also our thing, which be successful level. so that we can gain leverage.
Sure. There's another thing that I want to leave everyone with today, as a parting shot, right? Is that you've got to think deeply about yourself first as a person, and secondly, the circumstances you find yourself in, and what do you do, right? So there's not always going to be funding from somewhere. There's not always going to be a corporate that does something. I mean, if you have to go sell eggs, right? Like on the one end, you're the baddest producer, Shainamba, Marupaisa Magan. Do it, right? Search within you, what are the other things that you can do? What are the other things that you know how to do that you can convert into at least some money coming in for you to carry on doing what you're doing, right? Because half the time, you know, we invest a lot of our time and a lot of our money with one income stream, and then it doesn't work out, right? And then pelile, because now you've put everything in there. Every single person in this room can do more than 3 things. Because we think, you know these perfume samples, the perfume gama sample amancane. I used to sell those, you know. We used to get them in a big. It wasn't sexy for Indwana Kula. But in general, big window, the location it was coming into the swag. No. But my mother got retrenched, right? And you could feel that hole because it was expired time at pen. And they'd done everything to give us a comfortable space. I'm talking. Already my bashanga pome spanini, segnembo wanyana segmene spices into. Right? My brother, beba paisa malana. It wasn't sexy, dog. But it got us through. You know? So don't underestimate the other things that you can do to keep yourself in the game. You've got to care enough about the game to do what you can to keep yourself in the game. Don't rob anybody, don't steal nothing. Let's just be clear about that. Just now as a
All right, so Greg,
Thank
I
you.
think just in closing, just a question from my side, right? So I'd like to proudly say that I'm a product of the YFM Academy, and thank you very much. I think one thing for me that kind of stands out where, you know, a lot of artists will want to know is, you know, like basic questions. And I think the question I'm trying to drive is, how important is it for artists to invest in their knowledge management? And I say this because, I mean, I did Yo TV before I joined YFM, and as an avid, you know, artist, I love TV, I love radio. Even before I was on TV, I made it a point that I go for TV training in terms of presenting and understanding how to read a script. So how important is it for artists to actually learn and get educated within their craft? Because as much as we believe that, you know, you are born with the talent, you are born with the passion, but what role does education play in the arts?
Okay, well, you're a prime example of that, right? Do you know what I mean? That's what you just said. You were here, you went and learned, you cared about understanding how the thing works, and you've seen progress, right? I was talking to my family this week, actually, in the last couple of weeks, about I want to go and learn something else, you know. And one of my friends, actually, close friends of mine, I spoke to yesterday, and he says, and I said, yeah, why not? And I was actually convincing him to come with, right? Because what you realize is things move so quickly, right? If you don't know what the conversation is in the next room, how do you get in? You know? I sat with our team. Part of the business that we run is a business called Vision View, and we sat in a team with a few of our creatives, and we were, discussing an idea for a client. And, my role is head of strategy in that business. So everybody says, okay, so I see this, we do Siapi, right? So yeah, you stand up and you're like, okay, guys, here's what I think, right? But my eyes are moving, on the youngsters in the room, right? And the youngsters are like, so I'm like, okay, let me do this a little different, right? And I said, okay, you are the head of strategy, right? I pointed at one of them. You're the head of strat, go. She stood up. She spoke of things I've never heard before. I mean, I know the things, but not in the way that I would have expressed them, right? And so you start to learn that unless and lessons are not formal. It's also just about paying attention to what people are saying. What are your siblings, the young, people at your own house? What language are they using? We try to catch up with our kids' lingo all the time. We can't keep up. They're 13, 10, 12, 9, and 8, right? And so if you're not paying attention to all those things that are happening, what music are they listening to? What is the language? What is the jargon? What was the last, interesting advertising campaign, right? And just also to think about your music. Don't just think about selling your music as a track. Can you put it in a TV documentary? Can you do an ad with it? How do you do that? Where do you go? Who are the other creatives? What else happens with music? Can I make money 9 ways with one track? Is a question that Oskiro and I asked ourselves in 2002 when we started a business called Madlozi. And we said, you generally produce a track, it's a single, and then it goes into the charts, and then you want to do a record and then sell the record. And then revenues come from airplay, which may or may not be great, and then events. And that's it. Now you got to start the process again. We're like, well, hang on a second. That's only 3 revenue streams. Is there more? And we came up with 9 revenue streams, right? So we had downloads on the phones, we had ringback tones, but we had to create those industries as we went, because those were greenfield spaces, right? So now you don't have to go and create any of those spaces because that stuff's there, right? Even though it's dying now, but what's the next for that piece? Okay.
I think my last question, I actually had 2 questions, and I think when you touch on the different streams of generating revenue, right, which is very important. I think for me, the question here is how do artists leverage off digital platforms? I think TikTok has shown us that it's a complete game changer, just from a digital point of view. And also I think, just to throw it in, and I'm sitting here now because I'm a creative. I'm having brain farts, and I'm thinking digital services, there's gaming, there's so many opportunities, like you're saying. How can artists leverage from various digital platforms? Because I think that's where the world is moving into, or is.
So have a community. They don't need to initially start digitally, or they can be digital, but have a community. Have people that like what you do. And by the way, not all of us are going to be successful in this game. Okay? Some of us are going to have to just go be priests. Nothing wrong with being a priest. Absolutely not. I actually wanted to be a priest when I was a kid, and I think I would have done well. So it's also very important to understand that you've got to have a community, you've got to have a craft that you must have game. People must love what you do. Otherwise, what's the point? And you must allow those early adopters, those people that love your music first, to drive what you do. But always have the right people. There's a thing called early adopters in the scale of audiences. There's always these cool people. As Babuzi, we're like, no, let's go there. These are the latest sneakers. Those are staying sneakers. You know those people, right? You have them in your networks. Use those people. Those are the people that will take you further. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Greg. Thank you so much. It was really insightful, and thank you once again for sharing your wealth of knowledge, and we hope to have you soon again.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next item, but I'm going to leave the floor and allow Hector to do his thing.
Given my height, I like standing on this little stage over here. Once again, Ntate Maloka, he was I think he was first station manager for YFM. I think most of us knew him over there. But he started at Radio TNT. For those who are from Soshanguve, you'll know Radio TNT. Greg Maloka started there, and 1992, that's when I started Radio TNT, and Greg came in 1994. So I'm older than him. Peter, so. No, serious. And then Greg managed me. The next thing, Kaya FM 95.9. The years when Kaya was really doing well and playing amazing music, Greg was managing that station. He's got an amazing radio brain, that man. But not only the radio brain, he has also got a music brain. And that is why, if you really know Greg and his nickname, who can tell me what is that? Music maestro, musical maestro. Yeah, because he understands his music and he loves his music. All right, Greg Maloka. Then from one Greg, we go to the next Gregory. But before that, I've got a black card here. Yeah, cherry black card. Yeah, boy. If you've lost your black card, come and fetch it. So I don't want to say the name and everything because anybody can come and claim it. So if you've lost your black card, come and claim it. Yeah. Give music organizer. Go and yeah, boy. But it's very black card. Boy. So if you've lost your black card, let me take a black card again. What color is it? So it's very when you please come and fetch it. Oh, and you know, we are in the midst of Gregory's. You know one music artist that Greg loves? It's Gregory Porter. He actually introduced South Africa to Gregory Porter, and I think the last time Gregory Porter was in the country, he was organized by Greg and people. And from one Greg to the next Greg. But guys, I just want to find out, when we are feeling sad in this country, what do we do? Because that's why, you know, when I was hearing things about healing and everything, and Greg saying that he wanted to be a preacher. I don't know if you know that Lionel Richie also wanted to be a preacher. So musicians, when I look at you, I'm in the space of healers. Most of you can confirm for me, pila. Le batho ba moya. Le batho ba moya. Taba tsa ditšhelete and all that. Pila ke taba tsa you want to survive. I've said it on air before many times. So batho ba moya, and that's why let's tshwenyeha, guys. That's why I understand musicians. Now I introduce musicians on air. As a former radio, Bob, Kaya, and so many other stations, you know, that I've worked with, on FM. I have made peace with the fact that you guys are healers. Little Michael Jackson, that's why the musicians are often so tortured and so. Let's try again more, yeah, man. Drugs once. Come on, yeah. Come on, yeah. And girlfriend thing we happy. Come on, yeah. Let's say the into the magazine. Come on, yeah. Ladies in jazz. I loved their music. It was all an all ladies band. Sharpa the drums. I said bass earlier on. Sharpa the drums. And there's a song Matongo. So I'm happy to be in the space of healer. Michael Jackson, he was a healer. Check all the songs that Michael wrote for himself. Some with 3 lines, more like Rod Temperton and them. When Michael wanted to write a song, heal the world. More, yeah. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Gregory Koza from the Koza, .Koza from the CIPC. Register the company IP in the music industry.
It's tough to take stage after Greg. It's tough. I see some familiar faces. Sister Olive. Everything. Yeah, I see some. Guys, my name is Greg. I'm from the CIPC. The stage has been set, you know, before Kitlam. And issues that were discussed before are mainly the issues that I'm already discussed. I'm not sure it's what that presentation. Like it all was like IP, guys. But one thing about IP, you know, today one element that I've heard since this morning is respect. And respect starts where you are. The man in the mirror is the first one you respect. And if you don't have respect for the man in the mirror, believe me, you won't have respect for your trade. It's as good as fruitless, whatever you're doing. So today, Kibatla understand the IP in a different aspect. There are questions saying, there's a question that was raised, which I wouldn't want to dwell on it, ma'am. But I doubt the thing about the bill, I know the bill went back. We still have to review the bill. But I will say something about that later on. And I'm challenging the youth. Bamaseko kunjani mfowethu? Uyaphila puti. Awuzwa. Guys, Africa has challenges. And the solutions to our challenges are the youth. But for the youth to do something is for them to be knowledgeable about whatever you do. Mehrotman, Ushapomar. Ubuile ka ntho tse botlhoko gore bo TNT me bra. Dio tse ba tshwasa ditse. Tsa khale. You know, back in Nagotsa TNT, ne re batla education by anything, by hook or crook. If you remember, those years are the years that opened more doors for black students. It got influx very high for us to go anywhere, Holokena school, because of knowledge. I tripped on IP, and I say tripped by default. Kenze IP as a background of law. But I didn't understand it. At school, you do things for pass. You know, you read, you want to, you know, I remember I wanted to do tax law. But it happened after Scala, you know, but Span. And go the then sacrosanto, I don't know for the older ones who would know, the registration office back then, before CIPRO, they were looking for people. I was one of them. Kakena mole kabare, there's an office bareke companies. Oh, what is company? Oh, by the way, oh, the CC. But there was this IP somewhere, and I tripped towards that IP, and my eyes were opened. And from then I learned and saw the world in a different perspective. In a totally different perspective. And I will say this without fear or anything or favor. The world rotates around intellectual property. The world is driven by intellectual property. The question that I have for you is, how far do you know intellectual property as Africans? Because the question was raised, we have a financial problem. The question was raised, we have this. If you can see us as Africans, the things that we do, we have more questions or stumbling blocks like excuse after excuse after excuse. Everyone who will come here will tell you, oh, Greg said it. And he said it very easy. If you have a goal and you can achieve that goal straight, hey, Ndota, if we are melu round, we are Bramfontein, Uchige, we are N Street, Ukupuge, we are GP, we are Deep Roof, we are East Rand, do that because you are focused on something. But knowledge is important. Sfiso ke tlo kopa o ntsamaisetse slide tsa ka bro. I'm going to talk about IP, guys. I want to give you the perspective of, Greg said something. There are 9 ways that he came up with of how to sell your music. And believe me, most of the guys, maybe Ranahana is true. It's recording, live, collecting societies, and then what? You're stuck. I get legislative framework, guys, it stands as this. I can ask you, who was born after 1978, if they can stand up in this room, and you can see how old this act is. That act is old. Our Copyright Act is old. It's not talking to us. It's not talking to what is happening on the ground. It needs to be, that's why the question was raised by Umama Lapawuti. Now the DTIC is moving towards signing the bill. How many people here knows about the bill? How many people have contributed to the bill? That will be the question I would ask, especially the youth. How would the bill work for you going forward? The bill that has to change the act. We have the Performance Protection Act. We have the only Copyright Act in South Africa that is registrable, which is the cinematography. Counterfeit, you know. And we have the Apex Law, which is the Constitution. Guys, IP is very simple. Look at everyone. Look at the person next to you. Everyone is unique in his own right. Anyone is unique. We can all think about love, but we can never express love the same. Greg said it here. That's what intellectual property is. It's all about how you express what you are thinking. What's about what I go fishing and they ask me one question. I have an idea. Can I protect my idea? Okay, but your idea is still abstract. It's not. You know what I mean? So how can somebody steal your idea? Because it's here. I don't know if you understand me. Yes. So intellectual property is very simple. The application of your mind, that has to be manifested in something that is tangible, usable, process. Be a dance, be artistic, be creative, ask yourself this. I always ask this question, and to me it drives me. I speak on this mic, you hear me on the speaker. Have you ever thought the how part of it? How does it work? I don't know. Don't take it as simple as speaking, but how? Because there's no wire that goes from here to there to feed the speaker. Whether it's Bluetooth, but how does it work? What is this Bluetooth? How does it manifest itself? Do you understand it? That's IP, guys. And somebody's protecting that. Somebody has created that. And somebody's making money out of that. The chair that you're sitting on right now is not a chair that you sit in your house. It's not a sofa. This one is purposely done for this environment. That is unique. That is IP. There are 4 different types of IP. You have to know her as an artist. As an artist, I can tell you patent, possibly you can be, but copyright, that's your space. Trademark, definitely that's your space. Designs, definitely that's your space. Casper Nyovest, how did he come? He designed his way. He came up with a brand, because people don't want to listen to this. Let me come up with something else. So most of the time, IP is created out of necessity. And it's one tool that develops this community more than anything. One thing that I lack right now in the creative industry is to hear of the plight of our communities. You know, Mashleli Spooz. Siyakhala, hey, yabona khona manje ama-pothole, ebheka manje i-load shedding. Hey, but the artists are not talking about. But when I grew up, masiyema-ke theatre bekama lapho u-Rapy Richikapa baze bambhene akhuluma ngendaba eyenzakala elokishini angasabi. But now creatives, you are financially inclined, not creatively inclined. There's no artistic format. So mostly you lose the part of the copyright because you follow the flow. You're a sheep. You're flowing. So there's no much creativity in what you're doing. I'm sorry to say this, guys. I'm challenging you. I'm not throwing stones, guys. If there are stones, then pick them up and build a house. Swiso, how to like batla ufitla go copyright in fit to kibuye ka tabaka. Copyright is bundle. It's a creative, it's work. Hey, there's this word going around on TikTok, content. You know, I'm creating content. You know, South Africa has this fashion of when there's a word that comes in, we don't even use it, we abuse it. Typically like who we are. South Africans, we are abusers. I'm sorry, my darling. Especially men. I will take the responsibility and I'll wear the head because they are doing that. We abuse words. Like now there's the word content. What is this content? Can somebody tell me what is content? King, is that content? Yeah. Oh, when you create something, it's trending. Or it's content. Is that the dictionary meaning or the content is a product? What about the service? Is it service also? No, continue.
Oh, let me get to you with the mic, sorry, so that the people online are able to hear you.
Oh, there are people online. I'm
yes.
not sure.
So we are hybrid.
How's it, guys? Sure. My name is Lebo. So I would say that content, it's like I said, it's
a product.
It's a product, but we get to use it mostly. We get to use the word content for media products. So that's where we get to mislead it. Because of even me as a creative, this is content, you know, like this is a product.
Amen.
But we get to use the word in the wrong way, like you had said.
Amen. No, I think that is most clear. We get to use the word in a wrong way. Context has been seen, content has been seen, mixed context. Hey, Sekoa. Somebody already the bandage to mama limit today.
Dr. Greg, I think we have another comment with regards to the definition of content.
Oh, okay.
Hi everybody, I'm Colette, I'm a singer. This thought just came to my mind that content, it's very important that content must be not irritating the people, that must be entertaining, engaging and relevant. You want to engage with your audience. You want to create a likability for yourself or your brand. So quality content is more important than consistent content. Consistency is important, but don't waste people's time. That's our most valuable commodity that we have is time. So make sure it's relevant and to what you want them to do. You want them to buy something? Do you want them to just attend an event? And use your personality and so people can engage with you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I will pose a question but not answer now. Are you aware that most of South Africans, we don't want to hear the truth? So to whatever extent that we talk or rape here, people don't talk, let's talk. You remember that song? Yes. You remember that song? But people in South Africa, most people don't want to hear the truth. They always want to hear something else, just to smile, just to drink, just in passing. I'm not saying that. Copyright. That's what I'm here for, guys. That's what I'm here for. Today, after today, align yourself with what is going to be discussed. IP, collecting society, ka management of rights, ka management of music and everything, and go and make more research about it. Don't say you leave this platform or this audience or this and then you've heard it. Go and make more research, learn, study. I challenge people to check the book, yeah, Professor Owen Dean and Professor Sadula on the bill, copyright, the copyright bill. Professor Owen Dean and Sadula have written something about that, you see, and you are talking about fair use, and fair use is there. They are talking about it, you know, to what extent. But I'm saying before we say it's wrong or right, let them understand the pros and cons and thereof of fair use. So that, because me and you might guide, but the more users of that bill, it will be them who are following us. So let's guide them, but more not to say what to say, not what to think, but research more, you know, because maybe fair deal was fair for Americans. That's why maybe their industry is big. I don't know. But with an African audience, if the Chinese can turn it around, with an African audience, we have the numbers. So the numbers talks more than anything. Your copyright, guys, it's an exclusive right that is granted to you as a creator. Again, South Africa is a treaty to what we call the Berne Convention. The Berne Convention was done in 1886 because, if you can see, 1886 is some years back, you know. This trade between Europe and Asia, there were many people who were stealing people creative arts, you know. So they came up with a system of saying, but now how do we protect the creatives? Now South Africa, because we don't register copyright, please, ladies and gentlemen, understand that as yet, we don't register copyright under the 1978 Act. We acquire what we call an automatic protection. What is this automatic protection? Automatic protection, it simply says, when you have done something, when you have created something, you as the author, as the creator, you claim the copyright thereof. If you can see a book, I think I have one in mind. If you can see any books that you'll always see that people, any book. Just give me this one. This is the document that I'm talking about, Cisne. Yeah. Please, guys, try to look for this document. It's very important. Understand where the West is standing about our copyright bills and everything. Ne? A gift of multiplication. If you look at the book, the first 2 pages, there's somewhere that's written that copyright is reserved, and a C in a circle and a year, and the name of the author. That is an automatic protection. Not registration, guys. Protection. I get there's a difference. Registration, you go somewhere, they register. Protection is automatic in this way. We understand each other more. When you create your work, there are 2 rights. Most important right is an economic and moral right. The other one you can dispose of, but the other one you cannot, in whatsoever manner that you want, which is a moral right. That work that you have created will forever be aligned. The name will always be aligned with you. Example, national anthem, Nkosi Sikelel. It was written by, and Zimbabwe is even using it. But believe me, the economic right, he might have ceded the economic right as the family high. But there's a difference. The moral right will never change. It will forever. It's a mesanale ntate inot sotong. Does it make sense, guys? Those are 2 rights that you acquire when you get that. So what is the work that is protected, that is eligible for protection under copyright. I will tell you, you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I doubt most people know about this one. Program carrying signal. I learned this some years back. Kana king soap TV generations ka Achimrock. Yeah. Kibona, there was a dispute go SAPC some time back, whereby when they broadcast generation more Africa back in the day, you know, if I was not wrong. So some people would steal the signal, right? Like when you broadcast, like I said to you guys, this is more about broadcasting. How does this talk to the mic? You know, somebody can steal this before if mall, I distributor somewhere else. But within that space, so this broadcasting, there's copyright. So know the types of your copyright. Understand that the types of all the copyright. Sound recording, you know. Cinematography, which is the only one again, guys. The only one that is registrable in South Africa. Simply meaning audio visuals, the movies are how, the documentary, all those things. Those can be registered. Go the DTIC. Okay? Move it for me that. Examples. So, with these examples, and like I said, Greg paved a platform for me. With these examples, can you see the ways of selling your music? More ways of selling your music. Not one. You can license your music for a movie, adaptation of a movie. That's another. There's so many ways, guys. How is a documentary? Guys, I haven't seen documentaries about the plight of, I only see it's SAPC. It's the plight of South Africans communicating or even the rural areas. The challenges that we have, I don't see. But you guys are creatives. Or are you only creating music? I don't know if you understand me, guys. Creatives doesn't mean fellow creates music and that is all. Influence me. There's a product there. There's creativity. There's a designer here. I don't know. And if he's in the music industry, believe me, think about the followership. Think about the trend that is coming up with. I can know the trend, guys, and you know, you learn a lot from Banabakha. Papa's guys are so, why were so? Hi, this, you know, ish wapora, you know. So there's a trend. We're moving from from tight skinny jeans to boof. What's happening? If we born. But I'm saying this because now that's the trend. And if somebody is wearing it, Lina want to be Hoboni Wager. So you follow what I'm saying? That part of what you are wearing is a design. Within that design, there's a trademark. You know what I mean? There's a brand. It goes with that. And within that, already you are a creator. If you are in the artistic space, hello? You know what I mean? Guys, know how to measure your IP or all your IP to make it a product to sell. It is very important for you to look at it from that perspective. Because it will be useless for you to be a musician. Oh, this guy is more creative. It's like I'm more more space in so. Is this then like uplengi? Like, oh, what? Yeah, but I don't do that. You know? Beyonce is a brand. Sorry to say, oh, this guy go Beyonce. There's a gentleman in KwaZulu-Natal. I met him through all these interactions. Uzulo Mnyama. I saw I'm following him also in Instagram. Now he has come up with clothing line. But the question I asked him, Maloba Kire, but Baba, what should I go and buy your t-shirt? and not buy a t-shirt as a deep blue, facing wearing deep blue, t-shirt deep blue. What's unique about your t-shirt? That's what you sell. Uniqueness. The difference. Don't forget, IP is about me and you being different but serving the same product and services, so that people must identify you differently and me differently. And have a choice to say, but I don't want Coca-Cola, I want Pepsi. I don't know if you understand me, guys. There should be some uniqueness about your sound that I should listen to. What will make me to listen to your song over and over and over? Like in my car, I'm playing your song. That is what you should be looking at. Spiso ko pa untsa mai setse di example mo. Spiso, amachita temfe to the whole day on album. Your work should be original, guys. Please, man. Guys, that one we want to emphasize, guys. Originality in your creative, it's of utmost importance. Why is African music honano selling? It's because it's something new to the world. I can still understand. Guys, let's go back to our indigenous knowledge. Let's go back to the sound. Some people, when they listen to it on radio, modernize it. I'm challenging you to do that. Modernize it. Make it fashionable. Java, since Java, Mfano Mafike, the late Jeba. He was new and he was fresh. He was like, wow, you know. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying, guys. The originality of your music or of your creative will always make you something unique and sell. I get at the end of the day, you want to sell. And please, you cannot have, guys, you cannot have copyright if it's not something that is tangible. And you know how easy is copyright, guys? You wake up, everyone, I say to it, businessmen, creators, everyone, you must have a diary. If you don't have a diary or a notebook, you are, I don't know why you still exist. Because when you wake up or when you have a thought, you have to write it down. The minute you write it down, it's your copyright. The minute you do that, you have created your copyright. At the end of the day, that document, it's yours. That's why we have, in passing, the SMS case, the please call me. That's why we have it. IP is territorial, guys. IP is territorial. Copyright, I think it's only one exception to it, but though the Copyright Bill Act of South Africa 78, but because you have protected it, somebody cannot reproduce it. Meaning, he can take this book and go to the US, but he will never reproduce the book. Or maybe, let me say, adaptation. Change it to something else. Or maybe even translation. He has to go to the author to get consent for that. So the power of you writing down all the nonsense that come in your head, it's important. Because as humans, meaning the morning, then you think about that can do that. That's how you do. But it will have the please call me at the end of the day, which makes him the 5th richest guy in South Africa. Can you push more on that? The power of copyright, guys. I get you look at moral rights, ne? Look at the economic right. One, ushilwati unenking imali. Angit? Unenking enyo. But the sound yako, if it talks to the Lokshin people, la uploma kon. La bazwe understand the. That's where you start, jam. Angazuti yang tol. Yeah, kana kon Antoine. But understand the song. And mabanga understand. I can tell you somebody within Lapo, even if the tavern, even if the whatever uzothi lentwana le idlala kamnandi zwakala mfana simzini wena mawudlala la election kuyagcwala la kwami ngiyathengisa. Guys, let's unlock this. Let's unlock the shackles. I always say we are a third world country, but I doubt if we are a third world country. I don't know if you understand me. We may be third world, but we are not third world. So let's unlock this. Adaptation of your music or stage. Do you know 70% of the movies that you see in the US are from books, novels. Some are true stories. Do you have a legend, Tekas Lako? Why don't you make a movie about him? Guys, man, angicabangeni man. Ubani owacabanga ukuthi ayenze something ngoLucas Radebe? Ubani owacabanga la thing? Ukhulume naye. Ngestory sakhe ukuthi I want to make something. Not a documentary movie. Because Dr. Khumalo is not known. Lucas is not known to the latest generation. Waziwa yithi. Nina nimbonanga benihamba ngama type okuningi beni. Or ngikhuluma manga bhutisa. Uriyasaba ukusho nje. So people don't know them. So that's why maybe some of the young boys who are playing soccer don't respect the trade. How many people know about Reishi Kapapiri? Two. So. How many know about Mparanyan? One of our first soul ballads in Sesotho. Soul ballads. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying, guys. There's a lot. South Africa is rich. Especially in creatives, it's rich. The question is, what is that we are doing? Because money is alana for a sake you has been lapa being nabo Greg Greg said something here which is so profound to me. Guys, I grew up. He unfortunately we didn't say much. We schooled the same school. He came behind me though, like lo ena pro ka kentuana. Kelizelo khotmana ka kentuana. Skavana podiele. Kinestam pro. Majile kren. But you know, elections tend to come into the petty, and that's what describes who South Africans are or Africans are. You know, umbonile, uhamba ngani, uchinchile chomi, uyazi bekayenzani, ubone kubo, ushaya double story. So what? Are you happy for him or are you scorning him? I don't know if you follow me, guys. Know your trade, respect your trade, respect the man in the mirror. Because that man in the mirror has abundance of power. It's either to rise or to fall. Oh, my move. I'm repeating myself then. How do you associate copyright with trademarks at some point? Okay. How do you associate IP copyright with other trademarks for argument's sake? Kopa move slide. Sandton by Nahan. Guys, we have everything in the space of copyright. I plead with you and I plead some liluna, ne, to say and that one I don't want to compromise on it. Go learn. If you are to say you want to be a part of Samro, what is Samro? How does it help me? Why do I go to Samro, not Echo? Why don't I go to Imbra? I don't know if you follow me. Those are collecting societies still in thing around. Know them. Understand for you to be part of them, what do they bring back to you? But before, you must understand the copyright space by reading the Copyright Act 1978 and the bill as it's being changed. And you want me to advise you how to read it. You don't have to read it alone, gents. The Dai move ni numkenga nangit. Nploma nonke ngithi. Yeah, for a day, every day ngithathe nje 1 hour nje. Ngigeleza i-copyright act. Bese ngiqoqa ngayo maniqeda. Uthi ina affecta kanjani? Within 3 months ngiyanitshela nizobe niqedile. Within 3 months you'd understand it. And nizomalana ithi hey Craig awukahle hey Craig no ngeke ungitshela la nje. Why ku act bathi 1 2 3? Ibill mele ishows 1 2 3 ngoba mina ngishota nga 1 2 3. Then you can influence the bill. But you cannot influence the bill if you don't even know what the bill is all about. Do I make sense, guys? So I plead with you guys. Stand up and read what the act says. Because the 1978 act, believe me, it doesn't have collecting societies. So uzafuna act uzupet. Regulations only. So you must go to the regulations to understand them. But the bill talks about them. And I can tell you, they have an influence to that because it affects their work. It affects their bread. Guys, I want to be short. I think that's what copyright and IP in the space that needs to be done. Thank you very much.
Ralewaha that causa so ke TNT reunion here.
No, like you
Oh, you nibo. Hi, Greg and I look to UT. Why are you not another? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, my brother.
Before
receive something. Please receive something that the causa. Yeah.
To say thank you very much for the insights and teaching us what copyright is all about. I think in the interest of time, I'm only going to take three questions. And the reason I say this is because we should be taking, a comfort break. So if you've got any other questions for Ntate Khoza, you'll be able to ask during the comfort break that we'll be taking in the next 2 minutes. So I'm going to allow everybody to ask the questions, even after. Yeah. All right, but I think just for the comfort for the people who are online, let's just take 3 questions at a go, and then you can summarize the responses.
Yeah. It's 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Greg. I'm having this problem. Ne? I've registered my record label, which is Unique, Genuine, Lovable Youth Records. But on the CIPC portal, I can't access because the number I was using before, so I registered my company under someone else who was like a freelance or but registered. So now I can't get my BEE certificate and all those other documents. So how do I go about it? But if you research the company, you'll see that I'm the director and all that. So I want to know how do I go about that? And another question, when it comes to copyright, if I created the work, but I featured other people, do they also have a share in the copyright or the performance right? Which is which? Yeah.
Let me answer that one quickly. The first one, phone call center, they will help you with rearranging yourself to be part of. You have to have your agent code and password, yours. That will be related to your company and all that. Number 2, if you do something with somebody, Greg said it, guys. That's why I can write things down. Whether you are dreaming or write it down. If you have a contract or work with somebody else, after agreeing with him, write it down. Yours is 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's say they are co-composers. It's different. But if also they are performers, it's a different aspect also. Okay. Because they are co-composers and then they also performed on the song. Okay. So there are 2 contracts or 1 contract including all these issues. So let's be clear. Everything, even if you say I go to the kitchen after coming back from the kitchen, I want 10 rand, write it down. Because tomorrow there will be a dispute. We know honeymoons, after that they come back, the marriage is over. Because reality strikes.
Okay.
Second question.
Good day, everyone. Thank you, Ndade Koza, for the clarity on the IP. But mine is just one question. I heard you say IP is territorial. Just a clarity. I don't want to assume I know it, but I just want to be sure about it. Thanks.
Yes, yes, it is, ma'am. It is. IP is territorial. Let's put it this way. Because we have South African acts on each and every domain, trademark, patents, and copyright and design. So they oversee whatever happens within this auspices. But for the Copyright Act to protect you, you must be at least a domicile of South Africa or a resident. That's what makes it it's within the borders. However, it doesn't stop somebody. You know, you have been in the music for some time. You know, people bank music, but US. But now, they are not there to listen. I'm not sure to what extent. They are not there to listen to the music that is played in the US. Or they have to have an agreement with a collecting society outside, which there were challenges the last time I checked, you know, with that aspect. So, look, guys, my answer or my contention, having had so many conferences to music, you know, I'm happy to the youth here. I don't see the old ones. And I always complain, there's too much division amongst ourselves as Africans. If we can find our footing, we fight too much. Most of the time, because each and everyone, he knows better than the other. We need to, you know, if we can unite as Africans, you know, I'm sorry to part this way, and I'll use this words. Steve Biko, he said we will never run South Africa for as long as us South Africans are divided. Period. As long as black people are, I don't care. Even if no vote, no vote, I can do it. I'm sorry to be political.
Shapra Grigori, I want to ask, why is it so expensive to trademark expensive more than copyright? And what's the difference between the two?
Easy, Bob. Registration of your cinematography is 510. It's not. Registration of trademark is 590, 80 rand more. So it's very relative. But the difference is one. The other one is a brand. It's your identification of your product or services. To say, how do I differentiate between this and that one? But the other one is the how part that goes along. You've written it down, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so, or you are even performing it. Now, which one is expensive? It's a very relative term because it depends on the market. The consumers will determine the value thereof. How expensive? For example, konamanje ichinga tsepo. Ne? Ichinga tsepo ne? It's a bit. Yes, why before yes. It's like ngibuy sanendlini bazoshort marithi ngibuy. Ngiyangithola. But more we compare ne Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein sekumlahlo. I don't know if you understand me, because now the market has changed. People, there's a more demand for tsepo than, you know. So, you know what, guys? It's very dicey. There are certain also ways of calculating the value of a brand or of an IP. It's a pity this platform won't allow. It's very complex though. But you'll need an IP a lawyer to come up with that. But there are projections, there are this, there are the value market and all those things that you do, and then at the end. But it's easy. Copyright, it's in the creative side, and the trademark, it's in the product and services of distinguishing those particular products and services. Whether it be a name, slogan, motto, brand, a label, color. Color can be a trademark. You see? So all those. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it was.
Thank you, Brother Greg. And for those who have been following me, you know that yellow is my color. I believe that yellow is a color of motivation. Okay. Your presentation, Brother Greg, I'm asking on behalf of our creatives here. Can we share it among them? Can we give them that presentation? Is your copyright? Eish. Yeah. Go present. Yeah. Look, the conditions of use. We'll give it to you, but don't reproduce it. Or don't go to another conference and present and say, guys, I've got amazing ideas for you, and present his ideas. Okay. I was listening to all of things that were being said here, and as a man tuned into the media, I started thinking of people like Ntatema Porisa. You breathe the air in my studio. You drink my coffee. You sit on my chair. After that, whatever you did in there is mine. Hey, this world. Okay, we're going to take a break right now, just for us to stretch. And did you hear what Greg was saying? You don't just leave this place. Some of us come here and you hang out with the people you came with. No, go to somebody, and maybe somebody who's dressing, in a very unique way. Say, hey, you look nice. What is it? Give me your numbers. Can we talk? What do you do? Network done. But what we want to do, we want to do it nice and quick. At 12, we want to be back in here. So you have about 9 minutes. Thank you so much. As you walk out to your left, the way you came in towards the lifts, check on your right. You will see the signs for. I grew up barking the toilet. Ladies and gents, Masatia. And this one's so nice. We share them, men and women. So when you go in there, be careful. Thank you so much. Yeah. No, I know some gents have already. So the ladies will be in there. Sure.